Now, why is it that some brands are able to scale their ad account month after month very, very aggressively? They increase their ad spend and their profitability overall increases, the volume increases, the orders increases, and they're able to successfully scale. But when you do it, the ROAS tanks and the amount of orders relatively stays around the same. And every time that you're trying to say to your ad rep or your media buyer, let's increase the ad spend, let's increase the volume, we need to get these numbers up, everything just kind of tanks, and you have to scale back and you have to go again at another time. Well, it's a very important question, and if you don't know, if you're new here, my name's Lewin. I've profitably generated over $40 million in online sales. I've personally made 7 figures as a result of doing so. I'm not saying that to gloat or to brag or anything like that, just purely to add weight to what I'm saying, and so that that I'm qualified to talk about these things. Now, this is a topic that comes up a lot in the calls that I have personally with brands when they come to us wanting to achieve their goals of scaling and obviously making more money. One of the common issues that they have is whenever they try to scale, their ROAS goes down, their margin goes down, and it actually ends up being more profitable for them to maintain a steady ad spend and maintain a steady scale instead of trying to push the ad spend up and trying to generate more orders, because each order just becomes a lot less profitable. And so I want to just kind of break down today with you why that is, like why that happens, and how you can get around it, and how these brands that are doing tens of millions of dollars a year actually are able to continuously scale and continue to scoop up all the customers. And it doesn't seem like their ROAS tanks or, that they're losing money, because obviously if they're able to continuously scale their ad account, obviously they're making profit. So how is that? Why does that happen for them and it doesn't for you? Well, there's a couple of things that it comes down to. So the first one is the average order value of the product. So this is quite important for the first time purchase, because at the end of the day, if you are trying to get let's say $50 out of a customer, but you have to pay an ad platform cost of $30, that ROAS at like 1.4, something like that, like that's really not very profitable, or, it's probably going to be break even in the very best case scenario. And so that's not where the profit is made. However, one of your competitors might be generating $100 from that first time purchase. Maybe they've got a couple of products priced at $50, and instead of just getting people to buy one product, they have certain cross-sells implemented on their product pages and offers implemented that enable people to be incentivized to buy more than one thing. And so it bumps up their cart value. That first time purchase is $100, and so the brand is happy to pay $30, because not only are they getting a small amount of profit on that first time purchase, but they know that having a customer come through their business, go through the welcome flows, actually receive their products, use it and experience the quality of it, they know how valuable that is in itself, and being able to get the customer's email to then be able to retarget them throughout the future, throughout the next 12 months. That is ultimately more valuable than that small amount of profit that they got on that first time order. So obviously, with that said, having a first time purchase average order value that exceeds your competitors is very important. But the way that these brands are able to really, really aggressively, continuously scale month after month is by having a rock solid back-end system, a retention back-end system that enables you to generate more purchases throughout the year. Because essentially, if you know that your lifetime value of a customer is, let's say, $200 or $300, or it's at least more than $100, then when you're talking about acquiring a new customer and you're talking about NCPA and things like that, it doesn't really matter what the ad platform is going to throw your way, like in terms of a CPM increase, or, in terms of competitors trying to outbid you. It doesn't really matter too much if the CPA is going to fluctuate between $20, $30, $40, because you know that over the course of 12 months, you're going to get $200 roughly from each customer that you acquire on average. So That's obviously going to be profitable where, maybe that first month where you're trying to scale, that's not where the bulk of the profit is going to come. But over the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you're going to get multiple purchases from that customer through retargeting and through email campaigns and through win back series and things like that, where it's going to become wildly profitable. And so you can understand that in that first kind of like month or two, 3 months, when you are increasing the ad spend aggressively and you're increasing the amount of traffic to the website, you're increasing the amount of impressions, you're not going to generate like the same amount of sales, like, the same relative increase in sales as to the ad spend in the first day or so, or even the first week, because customers, they need a certain amount of touch points in order to convert, in order to make purchases. So it's going to take them a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or two, for you to first hit them, for them to go through your funnel, go through the catalog, go through all of the products, go through the website, go through the welcome series, go through all of these things that you've got set up for them to then actually purchase. So if you find yourself trying to increase the ad spend and you see the ROAS tanking and you see the CPA going way up and you see the results just looking absolutely horrific and it looks like you're losing money, and after a week or two you're like, no, we can't deal with this, we need to give up, we need to go back to that scale. Well, odds are, if you continue that over the course, if you understand your data and you believe in your system, you trust in your system of retention and email flows and things like that, then all you have to do is stick out that increase in cost for a certain period of time before you start to see the influx in orders begin to catch up with your influx in ad spend. This can be roughly like 1 to 2 months. In the very worst case scenario, it can be more than that. Sometimes when we're looking through our clients' orders of the sort of the history of the touch points, using our external tracking system, you'll see like the first point of contact, the first click on the ad, maybe was like 6 months ago. And then they've come back maybe 2 months later, they've come back again another 2 months later, and then another 2 months later, they've come back and they've actually made a purchase. So continuously running ads and continuously increasing your spend is so important. And it's just, I think the most important thing is to understand that you're not going to see those returns instantly. Like, you have to plan it over the course of 12 months and say like, right, if we increase our ad spend by this much, we can afford to increase it by this much and not actually see the result of that, not actually see the profit of that for maybe like 4 weeks, maybe a month, or maybe 2 months at the worst case scenario. And then we want to start to see that kick in, where we want to see our email flows working. We want to see the retargeting of the ads working in terms of like, how high is the frequency on those audiences? Are they being hit enough times across multiple platforms to them to be able to convert? I think it's on average, a customer needs roughly 6 touch points before they start to get into a buying frame of mind. Like, don't get me wrong, there are impulse purchases and there are people that are ready to buy from literally seeing an ad one time. Like, they'll literally click it, purchase, but that is a minority. That isn't the majority of the market. That's not the majority of people that you're targeting. On average, people need about 6 touch points. Now, that is quite a lot if you think about it. But then when you start to think about the amount of screen time that people have nowadays, I think it's on average about 5 hours a day for most people, which is just insane when you think about it. So that could be, they see an ad in the morning before work, and then they're on their lunch break and they see an ad, and obviously people are consuming so much content these days that you can place your ad in front of them 3 or 4 times a day. And it's not annoying. It's not a case of like you're harassing them or, you're reaching them too much like that. They're seeing so much content all day that seeing like 3 to 4 placements of your brand is not annoying whatsoever. And so if on average they need about 6 touch points, you can very, very quickly with your budget get through those touch points with obviously compelling marketing to try to speed up that process. Obviously you will get the impulse purchases, but the majority of people, they need a bit longer. And then obviously there is another demographic of people where they literally need months. But in order for you to hit all avenues of that, all different personality types, all different sort of customer types, and to be able to scale successfully and aggressively, sometimes you just have to give it time. Like if you're trying to scale your ad account and you see after 1 or 2 weeks it's not really working that well, like just give it more time. Obviously, if you can afford it, if you've planned for it, if you understand what your lifetime value is, if you understand what your lifetime ROAS is, if you understand what your lifetime CPA is, your new customer CPA on average, and say, can we actually take an increase, a fluctuation in this new customer CPA for 2 months of 30%? Like, can we actually as a business afford that, knowing that the remaining 9 months of the year, you're going to see a massive amount of influx in profit as a result of that? So I think it's more of an understanding of data, an understanding about sort of different techniques that these brands use in order to make sure that on the back end they are generating as much revenue as possible from each customer, so that, you know, if they have an influx in CPA of $10, it really doesn't matter, because they know like 6 months down the line, like they're getting like 3 purchases from that customer that they're paying for, and they can just continue to just keep scaling and keep increasing their ad spend month after month, keep outbidding you, keep outbidding everybody else for those customers. Because essentially, if you are the brand that is in front of your customer, your potential customer, the most, if you're on their screen every day until they make a purchase, and you're not really letting other competitors in your industry get any screen time or get any placements in front of them, just naturally, without them doing active research and without them doing like their own things or their own due diligence or their own sort of research on brands or like options, they're just going to think that you're the only choice for that solution or for that that niche, or for that market. So they're just going to go with you. After a while, they're just going to go with you. So that's why brands are able to just keep on scooping up all the paying customers, keep increasing their email lists, keep on rinsing them, because they trust in their systems, which is just super, super important. So that is something, again, that just keeps on coming up in conversations with brands that we keep having. And I think there's a lot of confusion around it. So if you found that helpful, if you managed to get any value from that, then that's awesome. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one.